Maybe I should do a LinkedIn masterclass. But I don't think you can be on LinkedIn for maybe 6 months and not get a job. I don't think so. I have tried it with other accounts, like my banners.
And it worked every time.
And it worked every time. You can always get a job through LinkedIn. You may not know the name of the company, but every football transfer, player transfer that happens in the world, I had probably seen the deal happen. Because all the sports lawyers, the agents use our platform to get the transfers done. On deadline days, I'm probably one of the busiest people in London at the time. I think people will see that every year the Ghana School of Law call people to, and because we are people who try to show off, our pictures circulate more. So you would assume that there are a lot of lawyers, but no, accountants don't show off, so their pictures don't circulate. So there are not enough lawyers.
Welcome to Building Bytes, where we tell relevant stories about Ghana's digital ecosystem to fuel innovation and drive growth in our digital ecosystem. This show is brought to you by Insights Lab with production support, and the video being shot as the Hubtel Academy Studios. Distribution is done by Tech Library and TechLeaders.Africa, so you can follow any of these channels to know what's happening with Building Bytes. Once again, we also show on MX24 on Thursdays from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. and Sundays from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. So whenever you miss an episode, you can follow us on MX24 on all channels or mediums. So today we are having a special guest, not our usual like tech folk, but I'm sure we'll get to know on as we come into the conversation. My name is Caleb Lamte. I'm your host, and I'm with
Yaira Ofori
and Polo Coffee.
And in today's episode, we will be having Michel Nkansah, a senior product manager at a global law firm and a legal technology strategist, a founder of LegalTech Lounge. And today we'll be sharing about how tech is moving it's taking shape in the legal ecosystem, whether Ghana or in the globe. So before we dive into the conversation, we want to just hear from Michel and tell us a bit about himself. So welcome, Michel.
Hi, Caleb, and hi everyone on the pod. Thank you for having me. You mentioned my name already. My name is Michel, and I am a senior product manager in a global law firm. I work within the innovation and AI team. I look after 3 regions, UK, Ireland, and the Middle East. But people who understand global setups knows that the work takes you everywhere around the world. So that's what I do mainly. On the other side, what we've been trying to do is LegalTech Lounge. I'm also the founder of LegalTech Lounge. I'm sure within the episode we'll talk more about what we've been doing in the last 3 or 4 years. Sometimes I consult for legal tech businesses and law firms also in Africa.
Awesome. So it's interesting. I once watched Legora, one of the legal tech AI tech companies, talk about how they work with like innovation teams. If not for that episode, I didn't know that the tech in legal is usually classified as like innovation. But how did you get into that role to start with?
Oh, that's a long journey, but I'll try and summarize it. So I'm not a traditional person within the legal ecosystem. I think how it started is that I went to the usual Bachelor of Laws to study the LLB. I have a master's in law as well. I did a master's in international law. But in between, I've mainly been working in tech. So I've been in the industry for about 8 to 9 years now. How it started obviously from uni, because I realized...
That was in Ghana?
Yeah, that's in Ghana.
Okay.
I did uni in Central University. I did my master's in law in the UK at University of Lincoln. But everything started back in Central University, I think in 2nd year or 3rd year. I recognized early on that I was not in the right place because the whole environment was too structured. About how you study, about what's going to happen at the end of LLB. You're going to go to Ghana School of Law and everything. So I clocked out. So when I clocked out 2nd year, 3rd year, I started looking for what to do. So I self-taught myself how to code.
Wow.
That's how everything started, with YouTube videos and everything. So that's where the journey started. But the transition into legal tech, for law or legal audience listening, there is something we call moot court, which is just like a trial or something students use to learn how to litigate in court and all of that. You can also equate it to science and math quiz like that. So it's a competition called moot court. And I used to represent my university for that competition. In as much as I didn't like the law, I'm a big, like I talk a lot. So I was representing my school in those competitions. And in those research processes, because some of the competitions were African-based, global-based, there's one big one called JESOP, which is done around the world. And we were supposed to put together like a large set of documents, and I had to like annotate citations.
So maybe for those legal people watching, so I don't know whether they understand annotate, but you break that down.
So annotating or simply is referencing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when
I think
you're-
anybody who wrote a paper.
dissertation or
Yeah, you should know if you
Yeah.
wrote a paper.
But no, there's also an annotation in terms of AI data learning.
Right, fair. Yeah, I'll try to break the legal jargon still. Yeah, so I think that process in second or third year made me realize, because everybody was doing it manually, and I was asking, we are going to spend almost a month to do this. I was like, nah, I'm not going to do this. So I started looking for a way to simplify that. Yeah, so I went into Microsoft Word. So the challenge, and I think we'll spend more time if I have to talk about it, so let me try and summarize it. The challenge we have is that people don't know how powerful Microsoft Word is, even within the legal industry. So I use Microsoft Word to the best you can use it. I got that work done within an hour, and it was going to take us months to finish that.
Wow.
So it was that process that made me started looking into something called legal technology. And I came across a book called Tomorrow's Lawyers, written by Richard Susskind. And it's a very circle thing where I ended up working with Richard Susskind in the UK at the Ministry of Justice. And I had to tell him I go into the industry because of him when we meet every time in board meetings. So that book, after I did that work, is where I actually started reading about legal technology, the industries in it, what you can be after law school and all of that. So that's where everything started. Then after that, I did my national service at the Attorney General's Department in Ghana. I was not a fan of, obviously, the legal work happening there. So on the side, I was working with Dennis Law. For the legal audience listening, they know Dennis Law is probably the biggest law tech product in Ghana. I was probably maybe the second or third high. It now has so many people, I can't count the number of employees, because so I was the first product manager on the product. So that experience in the environment, my boss is probably one of the best people you can ever work with. We built so many products. I think by the time I left there, we had built about 7 products.
And this was when? In terms of year?
This is 2018.
Wow.
Yeah, 2018. So at the time I left there, we had built so many products, and some of them made it to the market. Some of them got resistance, like you know how our market is here. So that's how everything started. But I don't know if you want me to go into the UK one, because that's quite long about how I navigated it.
Maybe we can break it down as we go on. So first of all, I mean, you're a lawyer. You get interested in like figuring out tech can help you get a particular work done, then you end up being a product manager. Before getting to that role, did you ever know that there was something called like a product manager? How did you figure that out?
No. The short answer is no. There's a joke in my first company I work with that I created the title for myself.
Oh.
Yeah, because I was brought in to just get the job done.
Okay.
So the founder of that business was my lecturer in uni.
Okay.
And I think I skipped something. I didn't say it. So when I discovered law tech and everything in uni, there was a challenge that law students in my uni alone was facing back in Central University in Mutual.
Okay.
We were the first batch of law students on that campus. And the big challenge was that we're not getting access to cases. So they always have to travel from Dawenya to Legon to come and get. So I built a website for them. I copied all the folders that they come here to come and copy, and I said they should download it. So my lecturer saw that back in uni. He brought me after uni to come and work with them. So that's like when I go into the environment.
Yeah.
The title, I created it for myself, but I was thrown into to do everything to help them. The reason why I think I was a product manager was that I was not a big fan of the technical part.
Okay.
And I also didn't think I was a non-technical person, because I could understand everything because I taught myself how to code, and I also had a legal background. So I was always the person people in the company come to understand all the legal jargons, and I was always the person like taking the information down to the technical team. So eventually I became a product manager, and I started taking the title upon myself. And people in the industry, like you guys know, I don't think there is any university that teaches product management.
No.
I think it's most recently that
people are trying to like come up with such
courses and all of that. But back in the day, there wasn't anything like teaching product management.
Yeah, it's interesting that one of the things or the qualities that made you get into Dennis law is still a quality you still hold now. Because recently I was following you, and there was a whole thing about lawyers finding a place to do their pupillage, and you managed to build something for them again. I mean, probably like 7 years again after doing it the first time. I'm sure you did some in the middle of those times. What keeps you like doing some of these things, even though you're even out of the ecosystem to some extent?
Yeah, I think the easiest word I can use is maybe exposure is not the right word, but I just want people to know that they can do something else other than studying the law. So they can have the legal knowledge, but they can do so many other things. So if you Google legal tech in Africa, I'll probably come in top 5. Not Ghana.
Yeah, in Africa.
Yes. The reason is that I have done so much work and put it out there. And I've also exposed people how much there is like money in the ecosystem. So I'm on the TL, I'm on Twitter, but I don't talk. I'm not in the argument people do. But sometimes the things that lawyers scream about, I always have the solution in my head.
Okay.
So the one you are referring to, it could have been fixed within a second.
Yeah.
So I didn't think that it should take forever.
Yeah.
But the last thing I'll add is, don't get me wrong, that problem, I'm not the one supposed to fix it. There is a regulator called the General Legal Council. There is Ghana Bar Association, which is where all lawyers get their sort of group from, the people who work within the legal ecosystem can solve the problem. But what I'm trying to draw our generation attention to, or like the upcoming lawyers, is that some of the problems, so if you noticed, people are looking for places to do pupillage. Law firms have pupillage slots. So why don't the students who are looking for the slots build a simple form
marketplace,
and just connect themselves? It didn't have to take anything to get that done. So I see a lot, but I don't solve all the problems. I just pick the ones that I can do or do to support.
Awesome.
But then, would you say that people are actually embracing innovation, like among the lawyers and like the legal practitioners?
So, I think the short answer is no. The reason is that the legal industrial lawyers are the most conservative human beings on earth.
Just I wanted to do this disclosure because before we start, but we couldn't. But I think the law industry is not conservative, but I think they're trying to not make a lot of people enter law. Somebody told me it's demand and supply.
People actually entering law.
No.
I mean, compared to the number of people who wish to enter, probably.
I mean, every year there's a lot of them, and
a lot of them like coming out and
please.
You see that
Disclaimer, I didn't say that. He said
that. I mentioned that somebody says demand and supply. They're trying to keep the supply very low, so that the demand, if the demand is high, they could charge more.
Because
but
that's
over
how
the few
years, a number of like law schools have been launched across like various campuses, and so I mean there are more people who want to get in.
Unfortunately, I don't have the statistics I'll come back to your innovation embracement, but just quickly to what he said. Unfortunately, I don't have the statistics offhand, but we still don't have enough lawyers in Ghana.
Wow.
And
this surprising to me, honestly.
I don't want to misquote, so I'll just keep it blank. But I think it's 1,000 in Ghana. The ratio of lawyer to citizen, I think, is 1 to something, a very large number, right? So we need more lawyers, but we are regulated, or the Ghana School of Law is regulated with an act that was enacted during Kwame Nkrumah's time.
That has
Date
not changed.
it's not
and it
been
hasn't
changed.
changed. And I am sure for those who are listening who follow the political climate, which I'm not trying to be political here, is that this current government is trying to change
Yeah, I
that
think I
law
saw
to
some stuff,
open it
yeah.
up so that all the unis in Ghana can do what Ghana School of Law is
Yes,
doing and
do.
have more people. Lastly, we don't have enough lawyers. There are more, comparing lawyers to accountants. Both of them are professional services. I'm sure you know there are thousands of
Of
accountants
accountants,
in
yeah.
Ghana. So
Wow.
I think people will see that every year the Ghana School of Law call people to, and because we are people who try to show off, our pictures circulate more. So you would
Come to think of
you
it,
would
because,
assume
yeah,
that
there
there are
are
a lot of lawyers, but no, accountants don't show off, so their pictures
Yeah.
don't circulate. So there are not enough lawyers. As to whether they are gatekeeping, I have
I think
no.
they are.
I have,
We can't
Not
say that.
committing
I mean,
himself to say
there's no
anything.
evidence.
I
There's
see that
nothing
in
there.
the Bible.
Yeah.
I have no comment.
I mean, any. I'm not even. It's not even about the exams that's overly difficult. So maybe I think I heard some requirements I can't mention here. That's some are like some you need recommendations and all those stuff. It's,
I
it makes the barrier very high. And
I think that is worldwide.
yeah, I mean, I don't think it's just Ghana. I think
Yeah.
the whole law profession,
The law
like
profession.
a bunch of aristocrats that wants to keep it like
yeah,
that.
Yeah, it dates back very way when the common law. We were colonized by the Brits, so like the profession is for noble people, and that sort of tradition has been there way
yeah.
before I
I was gonna
born.
say something, but it's okay.
Way before I was born. So that tradition must be protected. It's being protected. So that is happening. But even from the ecosystem in the UK that I work with, it is highly regulated. I wouldn't lie to you. It's not easy to become a lawyer anywhere in the world. The only challenge we have here is that we do not have spaces. So our regulation tend to sound to people that we don't want people to be lawyers. But if we have the spaces and it's being
probably
regulated,
embrace more
then we would embrace, okay, I'm not good enough. That's why I didn't make it. I'll tell you a story at another time about how I didn't make it to Ghana School of Law. But
Okay.
back
the
to
points there,
your
yes,
point
and
about
embracing innovation,
embracing innovation, I think we are very conservative. So innovation takes a very long time. I can use I work in a global law firm, so we have structured global firms now that we have innovation department. What we do is we build the technology that lawyers use. So the software is the products that they use to work, which is not in Ghana, by the way, it's in big firms. We build them, and we then tend to become engagement managers again to go and tell people, beg people to use the tool. There's a question or there's an argument about billable hours,
Which they don't want to.
which is what is very controversial.
Yeah.
Because if you tend to use the technology to work,
It
it will
reduces-
reduce the number of hours that you will bill.
Yeah.
So would we or would lawyers want to now restructure their pricing models for them to embrace innovation? That's a conversation that even in the most advanced ecosystems we've never been able to answer. But in Ghana, it's very, very difficult because as I speak to you today, we only have 5 legal tech companies in the country.
Wow.
In Ghana. And our work we've done at LegalTech Lounge in the last 3 years have now doubled that number to 10.
Wow.
And those people came through a hackathon that we've done early this year in April. 3 of them are now startups.
Wow.
So this is why I am leading that to do that. Because I think that anyway, I've veered from here.
Don't worry, it's fine.
So law as a whole, most of African countries were colonized by
The
Britain.
British, yeah.
Most of us follow common law. Now, if we are able to build products that are common law related, we can export the product to other jurisdictions.
Yeah.
So Nigeria is a common law jurisdiction.
Okay.
If you have a product that is good enough, it can be used in Nigeria. You wouldn't have to do much to change it for them to use. So one of the reasons why I am leading what we are doing at Legal Tech Lounge is that fintech, as all of you are tech people, the Nigerians are gone. They are gone. They are gone. We won't be able to catch up. We can do our best. But I think legal tech is so ripe for us in Ghana because Nigerians are not even doing anything we have done with Legal Tech Lounge. So if in a decade, and because you guys are doing community work, Paystar, Flutterwave, all these guys came out of community work. They met each other in community work. So if you keep bringing this community together, you can have so many startups and we can have unicorns. The Legora you mentioned is a unicorn within 14 months. The first day Max, the founder of Legora, started Legora. I met him for coffee.
He mentions that story.
And he showed me the product. And in 14 months, it's a unicorn. So there isn't much. So the little you do, you get the money, you get the valuation and all of that. I think now it's about 35 billion market globally. Lastly, before I let you come in, is that then I think the reason why people should pay attention to legal tech is that before everybody starts a tech business, you need legal.
Yeah.
That's true.
So you have to register the company. That registration process is legal. And if we have a tech product, that's a legal tech product. The Registrar General's Department in Ghana, if they have a good software and they are using, which I don't know what they use, is a legal tech product. So the entire tech ecosystem rests on the shoulders of legal.
That's true.
So if Ghana can bring proper legal tech products, everybody will be running to us in the next few years or whenever you can think about it. So that's why we are doing the work we are doing.
This is exciting. I think maybe in some of our call for startups for Demo Fridays and other programs, we could probably even call like specific industries because it's exciting to like get the basis behind such an industry and why it's important in the tech space. Maybe you're sharing more on the industry than maybe we would have mentioned. So I was going towards a personal story, but let me get into the industry now. Lawyers are not getting pupillage. People are figuring out. What do you think are some of the ways they can break out in some of this tech space, especially with their law background? Because I'm going to come back to you.
You're going to let me give away a business idea.
Because I see
maybe you can manage it better.
Because I believe one thing that has brought you to this point is the fact that when you see how cumbersome or like complex things are and how you can easily make it simple or something like the example you gave, something that would have been done in months. You try to come up with a solution that's happened in, you could solve it in 1 hour. So how can people, like as Caleb was asking, find themselves in such situations too?
I'm going to just give this out because it's something we are working on at LegalTech Lounge.
You can polish it.
So the challenge we have in Ghana is that there are not enough law firms to accommodate lawyers.
Okay.
So there are fewer law firms. Now, lawyers cannot only work in law firms. They can also work in legal departments in like Hubtel will have legal. True. Compliance for so many others. But do these big corporates have the budget to take in lawyers? I don't think so.
Definitely.
Right. So there's still a bigger pool of people in this country, lawyers, who are probably not paid well or they are just even going to work because they just need to show up. So I think what we are trying to do is that the market globally is changing because of legal AI. Now, so currently, before you practice in a jurisdiction, you need a license to practice in a jurisdiction. That's why lawyers are called to the bar in specific jurisdiction. But we now have a situation where legal AI companies do not need your license anymore. Like Legora, like he mentioned. I can go on and mention other companies, but I wouldn't want to put in on this spot. But you can be in Ghana, have the strong legal knowledge, and get a remote job in the US or in the UK. I know people in this country who have just an LLB, who have remote jobs working for legal tech companies in the US in San Francisco. Every YC company that comes out,
case test.
Every YC company that, and this is why I'm saying I'm giving a business idea so easily, but I'm sure you guys on the pod will know this. All of them need legal support. But they are not willing to pay the big bill that the lawyers are charging them.
Yeah.
So if you are pitching to YC companies and all the startups coming up that you can provide legal support, those guys, when they have a legal issue, they are going to go to a law firm.
Yeah.
But they are very basic stuff that they don't need a law firm to do for them. So there's a big market globally. I always tell people studying the law in Ghana that it's enough. You shouldn't think about just Ghana alone. You also don't need to travel or be in another country to get that job. So if you are listening or you are now coming up and you have an LLB and you are still in Ghana School of Law, you are not going to come out, you can just Google legal AI jobs. I think there's another website called legaltechnologyhub.com. There are loads of jobs there. What put people off is location on jobs. But I trust me, all the jobs I have been into, I was not in that location. But I got the jobs. So
it's exciting. I mean, bringing things like YC in and all that, like there are a number of examples. But for you, making it more relatable for maybe the lawyers or LLB or people interested in law, how did you get into this global firm? How helped you get into it?
Can I share this?
You can polish it if you want to.
So I think after my master's in the UK, obviously I went to the UK to study international law. You guys are going to air this on TV, right? Probably my dad will see this.
If he watches.
So
I'm sure.
I hope he doesn't. So
we hope he does. He wants more people to watch.
But when I was studying, so I went to do my master's in international law because my dad is big on you have to get your law license, have to be an international and all of that. But I knew I was not going to do anything after that. So after that, I worked for Law in Sport. You may not know the name of the company, but every football transfer, player transfer that happens in the world, I had probably seen the deal happen because all the sports lawyers, the agents use our platform to get the transfers done. On deadline days, I'm probably one of the busiest people in London at the time because all these contracts and everything that they need to reference from FIFA statute and all of that. So I did that work for about maybe a year or so or two, and that exposed me to a large network of lawyers in London. And then I left there I'm just telling you how I got into the global firm. I left there to the Ministry of Justice in the UK. I worked under an agency in the ministry called LegalTech UK. And I was more like a program manager for a new program that was incubating law tech startups. I met over 200 founders in 2 years. It was hectic because the government have provided funding to support. So that large network made me have a pool of options on where to go next. And I had not worked in a law firm before. So if you notice, my trajectory I've been mentioning has always been in a tech environment, startups and all of that. So I said I want to know what happens in a law firm. I've been there over a year now, and it's entirely different when you're outside. So maybe I can just say that I didn't apply for the job. I just met my head of innovation, and she was like, okay, they know what I'm doing, and they're opening up a role, and HR and all those things happen, and I ended up there. So it's been a long journey.
Awesome. One of the things I see in there is a lot of like curiosity, and I might be wrong. Lawyers, forgive me. I don't think they are one of the most curious people beyond their profession, because obviously the profession is a noble one. It's prestigious and all that. So I mean, there's nothing out there you probably might be looking for unless maybe money. But in your case, it seems there's a bit of like curiosity in there, like to know more of that. I don't know whether it predates you getting into law, or in law there was a certain mindset that was formed that also exposed you to such curiosity and having stuff.
Maybe it's just personal. I'm probably born with it, so I don't think it's anything that was taught in law school. My dad is a businessman, so probably pick one or two things from him. But I honestly don't think it came from studying the law. I would also be very cautious when you say lawyers are not curious.
No, that's what I'm saying. I could be wrong. I mean, I said I could be wrong. Yeah, I mentioned it before.
You may be wrong, guys.
Yeah,
Your
I may be wrong.
opinion is it's not the opinion of the show.
Yeah, it's not the opinion of the
Because when I share this, a lot of lawyers are going to listen, and it's gonna be a lot. But they are very curious, but they are curious in legal work. You find a lawyer deep researching about China legal. They don't have anything to do in China, but they're looking for a case to come and do something in court. So they are looking into China or Indonesia, or that's where their curiosity lies. But whether
outside
their curiosity goes beyond the legal knowledge, I wouldn't be able to tell them.
Okay. But so thinking like a product builder, thinking like a lawyer or lawmaker, what are some of the differences? Because I'm sure someone will be figuring out like which skills are transferable and which are not. Any thoughts on that?
So one of the I think it links a little bit about the conservative nature. So I think lawyers are very they maybe, should I say, risk averse. They try to look out for stuff before they do things. But on the product side, you take a lot of risk. You want to ship things quicker. That's why you all know we have our proof of concept, POC, MVP, and whatever you can call it, GTM products and all of that. So the lawyers are they are very cautious with stuff. And on the product side, you want to get stuff done, right? Naturally, that's how lawyers are built, or that's how they are trained. Whether they are transferable skills from the legal sector to where I am in the tech sector, I think it's an analytical skill that I brought in there, because before you can even come out of your basic or LLB, you have to be a very good analytical person because of how we analyze cases in responding to our questions. So lawyers are always asking a lot of questions before they write. They set some issues and they try to answer them. So those were the transferable skills I brought to product. Unfortunately, I don't think there are transferable skills from product to law.
So, what does it look like working in a global law firm? How is it like?
Every day, every day is not the same. Your job description changed just a week after you join. Because I work in innovation and AI, everybody comes to me with tech problems. So innovation and AI is different from the IT team. And I'm sure you guys will know or may know that IT in most senses are infrastructure with hardware and all of that. But innovation and AI, we are purely software. Every day is not the same, because I think in my team, we have over 32 products.
Wow.
Yes, because it's a very large law firm. We have over 32 products that we manage. Those are the ones that we bought from vendors, and we have about 7 custom built products.
Wow.
And I line manage a team, so I don't do everything by myself. But the way the environment works is that you are constantly trying to engage users. And my firm has about 27 practice groups.
Wow.
From dispute to corporate to banking to whatever you can imagine. And all of them, you have their product sitting with you. So on a daily basis, it's either you are trying to help somebody pull in an RFP or request for proposal to put to a client to know that, okay, we are going to use this tool for your work. Or the lawyers doing the work are struggling to use the tool because they don't care about the technology that much. So you have to find a way to engage them. And another time, you are trying to bring in new tools. So I'm always out there on the market looking for what is best. We are also sometimes renegotiating contracts because they were more expensive, legal AI. I'll tell you a funny story that some of the products that we have, probably we may not need them anymore because ChatGPT or the GPT wrappers have probably cleared why they built the tool. So you are always really looking at, do we need this tool again in the next year and all of that. So mostly that's how my day or my role looks like. most of the time I travel, because we have offices, so I travel to have in-person client meetings, because some of the clients, and I'll just chip this in, that is the bigger difference between that market and the Ghanaian market, because clients over there are now saying, if you don't use a technology or this software in my legal work, I'm not going to give the work to you. So they are rather demanding it. Unlike here, no clients is not demanding. It
doesn't care.
So that is why there's a bigger budget over there to bring in tech people to the firm to come and work on those things. So sometimes the lawyers will take you to the client's offices. I cannot mention client's name, but I've been to some of the tools that we all use have been to their offices, and you're now trying to tell them how we are going to do the legal work and all of that. So it's fun, to be honest.
Awesome. So what are some of the lessons you've learned in managing like products also in a global law firm?
You put me in trouble.
You don't have to mention any client or any product. The lesson, because one of the things about Building Bytes is that we usually want to create like the blueprint for people getting in the space, knowing the space, to follow some extent. Because unlike other markets where you have like known stories about builders, about things, we even learn from them, but now we want to pick our own stories. That's why some of these tough questions comes in.
So when you say lessons, we need to break it down. Are you saying lessons I have learned, I can pass it to somebody who wants to get to where I've got to, or lessons in the firm?
No, getting into the space.
Okay.
Working in the space. How someone who is coming in,
I think both of them,
approach it, but the less troublesome one.
So the one to help you get to where I have got to is what you have constantly mentioned, the curiosity. Yes. And I mentioned earlier, a few minutes ago, that your job description changed a week after. If you're not curious enough, you can't work in an innovation team in a global law firm. I'm really sorry, because lawyers are very smart. So if you are not ahead of the curve to understand what's happening with a tool or a product, you'll be gone. The day ChatGPT launched Agent, I had to build an agent before I go to work in the morning. Because if I do not know how agents work, there's a man who is an old man, a partner, who's coming to say, and it happened 2 days after agents came out. It was like, I've already built a contract agent and it's not working. So imagine I didn't know how agents work. So I have to stay on top of the curve. That's one. The second one, which is a skill that I think every Ghanaian has, that's how I put it, is project management. I think every Ghanaian is a project manager because of how we live in our houses. If you're a big sister, you project manage the family. If you're a big brother, you do it. You do it subconsciously, but I think every Ghanaian is. But what you do not do is take a proper education or skill to understand the terminologies. Yes, so I think project management is something that if you want to get up the ladder, you should learn. For product management, I wouldn't recommend people to go and learn product management because it's changing. I think for people who follow the conversation, people say product managers are not needed anymore. Just because now you can prototype easily. So, but I have learned prototyping, so I'm not going to go out of work. But I'm saying that I'm not going to recommend you to go and study product management so that you go and learn a whole you go and do prototyping with a designer, and at the end of the day, he'll bring you a Figma. But I can just use Figma to prompt and get my prototype. So I wouldn't tell you to do product management. The last one is collaboration. I think I learned it along the line. I think in as much as we are project management over here, we do not collaborate enough. It happens in so many instances where people, and maybe there's something wrong with how we are training our education system. You always want to get your work done and say, I am done. I have finished. So I think you need to learn it gradually within your group work, or if you're a lawyer in a firm or anything. So, and all my friends are lawyers, by the way. And sometimes when I listen to them talk, they are always talking about I have finished my own. So it's up to you to do yes. So I will highlight these skills broadly. I haven't mentioned LinkedIn in this conversation.
Yeah, you haven't.
But I think LinkedIn is the most powerful product on earth.
Wow.
That's what I think.
Wow.
Yeah, I think LinkedIn is the most powerful product on earth. I don't know how people use it, but I think it's the most used product on my phone, on my laptop. I'm opening LinkedIn more than everything. Like whilst I was just on LinkedIn. Because content is shared by everyone on LinkedIn. Not that I am happy I joined this job. If you know how to keyword properly on LinkedIn, you'll find the most recent content on anything legal tech. Because by the time someone will put together a course or put together a content properly for you to go and learn, we are gone. But these guys are sharing constantly. The name I mentioned earlier, Richard Saskin, which I fortunately work with him, he posts almost every 2 hours.
Wow.
And this guy was a technology advisor to the Chief Justice in the UK from 99 to I think 2013 or so.
Wow.
So he has seen everything technology can do in the justice system. So before you would even think, he has written about it. So if you're on LinkedIn and you use it, you are so rich in content in the legal tech industry. That's one aspect. The other aspect is the job aspect, which I think maybe the algorithm do not favor free LinkedIn users. But if you're a premium user, I don't think people should. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I should do a LinkedIn masterclass. But I don't think you can be on LinkedIn for maybe 6 months and not get a job. I don't think so. I have tried it with other accounts, like my banners.
And it worked every time.
And it worked every time. You can always get a job through LinkedIn. So I think all the skills I have listed, if you add LinkedIn at the bottom of it, I think you'll be super fine.
Yeah, without a premium account. Or you need a premium one.
Unfortunately, they are making money as a business. So.
Yeah.
And you guys know there's a LinkedIn Academy, LinkedIn Learning. It's so powerful.
Wow, awesome. So I mean, we've moved around the globe a bit. Let's come back home. LegalTech Hangout.
Talk about that.
I mean, you mentioned the potential you saw in the legal tech space that brought you there. But at what point was that? When did you realize that this thing should be like a Ghanaian thing? This is a chance to move up.
I think this was 2022 or 2023. How Accra Law Tech Hangout started. So at the time, I was working at the Ministry of Justice in the UK. So I was a real ecosystem person over there. And every day I'm here, I'm listening the money, this one's raising funding, this and that. I'm like, no. I don't think they are doing anything extraordinary. Like, Ghanaians are smart. So what's going on here? So I said, we need to also build a legal tech industry in Ghana. So I usually come home for holidays, and that year I tweeted that I'm coming home and I want to hang out. The word was hangout with people who are interested in law and technology. I have a very small, big Twitter account. It's about 10K, but people follow me. I'm not a celebrity. So when I tweeted, within an hour or two, there were almost 500 people who were interested. I'm like, what is going on here? It was a poll. So for people to hit yes, I was like, okay. So I made a few calls, called my friend Paul, who I have been doing LegalTech Lounge with, and recently Samuel has also been instrumental with it. And I told him that, people are interested in this thing. Okay. So let's do it. This was 1 week before coming to Accra. Then we called people we know, and Jumbo Spaces, very big thank you to Brand Master. We knew him at the time. We called him. I was like, come and do it here. So we planned to do the hangout for 30 people. And I set up a ticketing website page. By the way, I have a big problem about that because it's a Ghanaian company. So if they hear this, they know what the problem is.
I know. I think we've had a similar experience. So, I mean, we use a foreign one, Luma. We all know. and we said, okay, this time let's give a shot to our Ghanaian one. And yeah, it was sad. We couldn't believe that this was happening. We have to like really go back to Luma, but yeah.
Okay.
I think in the ticketing space there's a lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
I think I was discussing with one of the guys, and you sometimes go to events, and when you're done, you can't even find the pictures.
Yeah.
For the events, like I think that's like a very it's something that could just be sent to people that register just in tickets.
You guys have had your you had your own experience. So I won't go on about that company. So we struggled, but we fixed the problem. We wanted 30 people. We eventually had over 70 people buy the tickets in 3 days.
Yeah.
Then 3 days to the event, we had an extra, so we had over 130 people who were coming to a space that could host about 30 people at jumbo spaces. Yeah. So it was quite chaotic. So we did it, and obviously, big thank you to the sponsors at the time. I can't mention all of them. I might miss it. So those guys, we called them within few days. You guys were doing this, support us, and everybody said, come and let's do it together. So we did it at jumbo spaces. Why we were doing it that day, for me, was for people to come and network.
Yeah.
We were not there that day to share LegalTech content, because at the time, nobody or people knew very little about LegalTech. So it was more of a networking and drinks thing.
Yeah.
So that day, the speakers there then shared a lot that they knew based on how we structured the panels. Yeah. So then it got more people excited. So we then grew that day's community. I think now our community is about 2,500 members in 13 countries in Africa. So from that day, we then sat down. We're like, okay, let's actually plan a proper event for LegalTech. So for people who are closer to me, I think that everything we do in Ghana should be exported. So I don't think any tech product should be just a Ghanaian tech product. So from day one, we said we were going to do an African LegalTech hangout. So then I spoke to people I knew in other African countries that, hey guys, we did this, we tried this last year, it was successful. So come to Accra in November. Fortunately, I had very good friends, flew from Nigeria, South Africa, Kenya, UK to come for free.
Wow.
They all came and they spoke at last year's event. But the real mission for last year was different from the first one. Because at last year, people knew what LegalTech was about. So we had to have like meaningful conversations. Where can people learn? Where can people start? Where can people get jobs? What's investment looking like? And everything. So I think it was last year we had PayStarCon. So it was very successful. But the end of last year, we made a big commitment, and I just want to share it here again, is that we need to make Ghana the hub of legal technology in Africa. We don't have the resource, we don't have the investment, but that needs to happen. Because if we make that happen, everybody in the legal ecosystem will have jobs. My last check I had, we have almost 14,000 lawyers in Ghana. If we make Ghana the hub of legal technology, I think law firms will struggle to even get people to work there. Because Legora, that you mentioned, if you go on their website now, you'll be amazed at hiring they are doing there. I can mention so many companies. So last year, our mission there was that everybody should now know that we are about to build LegalTech companies from Africa or Ghana. So after the event, then went back to the drawing board and say, okay, people complained that the companies that were there, or there were not enough. So let's do a hackathon. So then we did a LegalTech or LegalTech hackathon at Google's office in April. And fortunately, or maybe I'll just say like impressively, people turned up with some brilliant ideas. Like this is me always on idea. I'm like, wow. They built like impressive products. So 2 or 3 of them will be demoing at the hangout this year. So then we tried to help them, and some of them go incorporated and all of that. So that is where we've come from. And this year we are doing again on Thursday. We are expecting about 500 people. Last year we had about 400 people there. So we are expecting 500 this year. So the journey has been what I saw where I work. And I was like, okay, we can also do it here. but we can really bring investment here and all of that. The challenge is that there is no enough support or resource behind us, which is normal, because if we had a resource to fly people down to Accra, I would have brought VCs down to Accra.
Yeah.
Because every time when VCs see my stuff I put on LinkedIn, I was like, yo guys, let's go to Accra. What's happening there?
Yeah.
Will you buy my ticket? If I'm able to buy 10 VCs ticket, I'm sure all these guys will raise pre-seed by next month.
Definitely.
So we just need people to back what we are doing, because it's just community driven. And some of us just I just want to see people see that they can do something outside just going to the courts and all of that, and there'll be so many jobs for people. But lastly, everything that I've said, it started from a newsletter that I used to write.
Okay.
So the newsletter was called Lawyers Who Beat AI. So this is 2019. I used to write every month. Lawyers Who Beat AI. Unfortunately, when Elon Musk bought Twitter, he shut down that platform, Review. For people who know Review was a big newsletter platform. We woke up one morning, Uncle Musk said it doesn't make sense for Twitter to purchase Review, so everyone lost their subscribers. So I lost over 10,000 subscribers. I woke up and I saw the news, but I moved to Substack and I couldn't write anymore. The point I'm trying to make was that before we started LegalTech Lounge, I was just casually writing about every topic I come across and all of that. So, but now I can't even write. It's not fun.
This is interesting. So I don't know, maybe you definitely didn't plan to be like a tech influencer in the legal space, but you happen to be in that position. And I'm sure you've mentioned a number of successes for the LegalTech Lounge and the community and all that. I mean, that also stands for like what we are doing at Building Bytes for community's sake, like support startups, give them the exposure, share that like their real stories. So, like well done to that on the community end. But on the what?
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations, big one. But on the personal one too, aside like supporting community, you take a lot of efforts into building things locally to support. Maybe you can share some of the past things you've done just across your mind, like some of the things you've done. I mean, they look at whether Ghanaian tech ecosystem, things you built in there, because I know initiatives you've spearheaded. Maybe some might not know. We really like doing that because recently we hosted one of the guys who pioneered like Figma across Ghana, and these were like uni guys who taught. In fact, Figma reached out to them in their beta space before Figma became a public company. Then today there are lots of like design companies. Maybe in your case, you can share a few initiatives.
I think my personal initiative will be the LegalTech Lounge I have spoken about. But there are stuff that I have been behind that you may not know that I was behind those. So back in the day in uni, maybe that's where the tech started from. I was a social media manager for brands. The guys who do science and math quiz are all my friends.
Oh, I see.
The digital people, Aaron and all of that, they are all my friends. So way back in the day, we were just handling brands, Samsung, Total, and all of that. So that was what I was doing. I was behind a lot of big accounts on Twitter. That was on the side. But on the tech properly, so I've mentioned Dennis Law, which is probably the largest research product in Ghana that every lawyer used. I did quite significant work at the company. There's another product called Justice Locator. It never kicked off because of the ecosystem. You struggle to get...
Is it locum lawyers?
No. So Justice Locator, it was a mobile app. The challenge we saw with that product was that in Ghana, Google Map is not as accurate as we want it to be. And the Google Maps, surprisingly, do not have courts in Ghana on the map. So we went around the country to pin every court. So that if you drive as a lawyer to Bolgatanga, you are now not going to look for somebody to find. Google Maps should have done that.
I think other countries
it would have been. You wouldn't. So that work was done with Justice Locator so that lawyers can easily find a court. And something in the legal industry we call course list. So course list is basically the agenda for the court for the week. So all the cases that are going to be heard in the Supreme Court, on Friday, the registrar puts it on the notice board. that next week these are the cases. Unfortunately, if you don't drive to the court to go and see the notice board, or you don't know the registrar and call him, but if he goes home on a weekend, you are not going to get him, you wouldn't know what is happening next week. So we solved that problem with the app that we collate all the course lists from the courts in the country, so that lawyers will just use their apps to know what's happening. Another thing we're trying to solve, which couldn't work, was how judges decide, or something happens and today they cannot sit. So you can drive all the way to Cape Coast and the judge will say, I'm not sitting today. Whilst the registrar could have just used a notification to update you that. So we solved that problem. But
I'm curious for what are some of the reasons they decide not to sit?
I think the one that will save me from trouble.
I like that.
Will save me from trouble would be
because it happens quite very often.
Yeah, very often.
Yeah, but the rest I can't say. But the one I can say is medical reason. A judge can wake up in the morning and say I'm not well.
That's why I don't like this profession.
So if
it happens way too often.
I've heard a lot about it.
I heard one. He said he was on his way to somewhere.
Was it a Twitter one?
Yeah, and he had to jump on a motorbike. When he got there, and he said it's not happening anymore. It was.
Yeah. So
he parked his car somewhere to jump on the motorbike.
When he got there, so it's not happening.
The medical reason is the judge is not well. Okay. The other part, which is administrative, is that from my research on that product, I was the lead product manager on it. I noticed that the registrars are very, very much aware of the situations. So the challenge is not really with the judge. The judges communicate with the registrars. But whether the court registrar is being like proactive to inform people is where the challenge is. So I wouldn't put the blame on the judges, because
my point is it happens way too often.
I know why it happens, but the one that will save me from the trouble is the medical reason. So let me just say medical reasons.
All right. So on some of those challenges, what are some of the gaps you are seeing in the market where you think some curiosity, some building, some community could solve some of those things?
Before I go into that, I think there's one product that I didn't mention. Okay. So after the Justice Locator, there's a product in the market right now called Marry Right.
Yeah, I think I've seen some. I don't know.
And Marry Right, I mentioned that because of the Daddy Lumba situation that is going on, and all of that. So Marry Right is basically a product to verify marriages. So in Ghana, and I was a lead product manager on that product probably like 3-4 years ago. But now it's with the company and they are doing brilliantly on it. So basically in Ghana, you need to have a marriage in a licensed building before the marriage is legal. If you marry in a church that is not licensed, your marriage is illegal.
There's a name they give it to the building or something. Like they have a term they use for it.
So the person is a registered or marriage license officer. Okay. So the mere fact that someone is a pastor doesn't mean that they can officiate your marriage. So if the pastor is not licensed at the time of officiating your marriage, your marriage, which was done 10 years ago, is invalid. So we solved that problem. That product is probably one of the most impactful in the marriage industry in Ghana now. And I saw when the Daddy Lumba thing came up recently, and everybody, because at the time when we were solving the problem, I never contemplated that the day will come where Daddy Lumba case will come, and it will become that useful. That's the Christian or the ordinance part. Then there is the Mohammedan, which is a Muslim one. That is even more complicated. If you go into how your marriage in Islam should be legal, it's very complicated. So probably that will be one of the maybe social product I have done that I'll say, okay, it's being used. There's a lot to be done, but it's fair now. So you asked a question and I had to go.
The gaps and
I'm also just wondering whether
there are a lot
of Mohammedan marriages that are invalid, but we'll answer that after the conversation. But what are some of the gaps? I mean,
when you say gaps, like you're trying to
challenges, opportunities, you're seeing that.
That one, you let me give business.
Oh, I mean, more on the general space. I mean, not too specific to your solution, any solution you're contemplating.
Okay.
More on the general space. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll start from the student side.
Yeah.
So I think that the entire legal education must be remodeled. So you cannot leave the Bachelor of Laws without having some legal technology training. So that's a bigger gap, because that's where the problem is now starting from. You cannot leave Bachelor of Laws without knowing how to use Microsoft Word. That is the most useful product to every single lawyer. Unfortunately, Google Docs doesn't work for lawyers. So there should be a remodeling of the LLB.
Why doesn't it work?
The tools you can get in it.
Yeah.
I've heard that case a lot.
So Google Docs is for you guys, you the tech guys. So it's not for lawyers, because Microsoft Word allows plugins.
Yeah.
Recently, Google has been doing Google add-ons, but all the plugins that you can use in Microsoft Word do not exist on Google Docs. And there are thousands of like plugins that lawyers, in global law firms use that are not in Google Docs.
I was just asking who still uses Microsoft.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing. I realize special fields have some special tools they appreciate. If you're not in that field, you look down on it. Like a finance professional, Excel is a magic, it's a wonder to
Excel.
That
You
person.
can get sheets.
No, sheets can never do that. Like
I mean, there are plugins.
sheets can never.
Okay, I don't know. I just like the simplicity.
Because
the
a tech guy, I mean,
accessibility
maybe-
Google
So
Docs.
you are a UX person.
Yes.
Good. I am like that.
Yeah.
But I had to learn quickly when I worked in a law firm.
Yeah.
I had to drop that idea because in Microsoft Word, like you can have like a Legora plugin that will not exist in Google Docs. Legora is getting my contract done within seconds.
Yeah.
Google Doc cannot get that done.
Yeah.
You can get a pricing calculator as a plugin in Microsoft Word. Google will never get that done. So, and unfortunately, maybe now it is, but unfortunately, back in the day, we were always using the cracked version of Microsoft Word.
I know, right?
But now, if people pay and you use the most modern Microsoft Word, trust me, the UX is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would say that. So, back to the point, remodeling of our LLB, since we are looking at trying to open up the law school system, we should add legal technology training there. Another gap is that when you get into a law firm, I think that you cannot, if I am hiring or leading any hiring process in a law firm and you don't have some legal technology skill, you are not going to get a job. That would be me, but obviously I can't be everywhere. But I think that there should be investment in law firms in our country, in the people to understand the use of technology tools. Because if they use them, it makes your life easier. But I think people have just turned a blind eye to it. They are no longer interested in it, or it's not there yet. So that's a bigger gap. There are two more I want to mention. One is the judiciary, which is a judicial service. I watched the vetting of His Lordship,
the judges.
Recently the vetting, and he said AI empaneling. So there was an issue on the vetting where they were asking why are like judges not being empaneled for some of the cases, and he was explaining the administration that happened. And I think he sounded very progressive, that he's going to like involve technology people to do AI empaneling. I don't know what he meant by that, but let me be honest. But if he is forward thinking like that, that's good. The reason is that there are so many softwares that I have used or available on the market that can't predict how judges write. So if you pick a large set of documentation from the Ghana Supreme Court and there are these existing judges and you present a new case to those large sets of documents, they can change their minds. But there's a high probability that judge will say the same thing again.
Wow.
We are not saying the judges are going to be replaced, but those judges need to be equipped with these tools so that they know that these guys standing in front of us are using these tools. So there's a need for a huge investment in our judiciary I don't know how that's going to be done, whether political or not, I don't know. And the last part is for my grandmother in the village, who, or probably the people with no education and they are struggling to get access to justice. That's my biggest concern. Because if we do not invest in technology in a way to help those poor people, then I think we should all stop. Because those people are not going to get money to pay for a lawyer on any day. And there are so many technology tools that we can use to help them. I'll give you one example just to end that. In the UK and the US, parking is a bigger deal.
Yeah.
If you park at the wrong place, you're going to get tickets and all of that. There's a basic legal tech tool. When you get tickets, you can dispute the ticket on your phone, on the website. I don't want to mention the name of the company, but that whole process, you'd have probably needed a lawyer. And the most poorest person in these countries can just use the website to dispute it. You get a problem. In our streets, there are so many things that we can use to help people to get access to justice. So we have a legal aid commission under the Ministry of Justice in Ghana. If we resource these people and bring right technology people there, I think we can easily get the job done. There are so many grants that come into this country that they pour or invest in some social causes, and they always forget about technology or access to justice. And that's a very big problem to me. So I think those would be the gaps I'll mention.
I think this conversation could be kept like longer and longer, but we'll have to cut it short at a point. There are certain conversations, and I've noticed that, like, I know a good episode when we have one. Like, it's so educative, and it doesn't come out like pushing out on anyone, but it's a whole learning curve, even for us as the host. So maybe in conclusion, just for maybe part one of our episode, I don't know when you'll be around again, but I'll look for that time to record. How do you see like AI, automation, technology changing the state of like African law, especially for the common, how do you call it? The
common law. The
common law, which Ghana and many other African countries practice.
I think the short answer to that is the newsletter I used to write, that lawyers will beat AI.
Haven't you been able to discover it in any way?
Like, what do you mean?
Like, find it out, even though maybe Musk has smashed it, but maybe there's some archive somewhere.
I did that investigation. Musk, he totally shut down the company.
Okay, everything.
Yeah, Review. If you search on his profile, REVUE. That's the name. Get Review.
Okay.
If you search Musk profile, he shuts down the business. He says this is very unnecessary. Okay. So he did, but I put that behind me.
Okay.
But lawyers will be AI answers your question about the whole AI thing is that. So this is not I think, and it's going to happen.
Okay.
And this is a common with AI. Lawyers who think that they are okay, or they are. I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. I've seen what is being done at the global law firms. We don't use lawyers to do the most basic stuff anymore. There are so many tools. The whole thing you see in our jurisdiction, where when lawyers are going to court, there's somebody following them. Please, it doesn't happen anymore. Lawyers come in Ghana. There's a platform called e-justice at the High Court in Accra.
Okay.
I don't think it's in all the courts in the country because of resource and all of that. But in the proper jurisdiction, lawyers are communicating on softwares and platforms, right? So AI is something that I think that in 5 years is even long, because 2-3 years, if you're a lawyer and you cannot use ChatGPT, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I know lawyers in this country who don't even have an account on ChatGPT.
Yeah, definitely. There'll be some.
Yeah, there are so many of them. So if you do not know how to use these AI tools, you will be out of work. The only advantage we have over those jurisdictions is that our clients are not demanding us.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, this generation is going to be the client in 10 years.
Yeah.
That's true.
And you are going to demand it. So when you start demanding it, and your lawyer does not even understand how Legora works, and you do, imagine you give your case to a lawyer.
I'll probably even test it with Legora before getting to him.
Yeah, so AI would definitely replace the lawyers who do not know how to use it in probably 5 years.
I like how wholesome that conclusion is.
I know, right? Yeah. So, closing for part one. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. It's been an awesome session. Thanks so much, Michel. Yeah, I think this is a whole learning curve. I thought first was going to be like lawyers interested in tech. I didn't know that tech people not interested in law will have to learn it. And we've gotten that knowledge. We are so appreciative of that. So like, comment, share, follow us. Let us know what your thoughts are. And we are glad to bring you some of the best guests you ever want to have. Yeah, enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.